It says go live. You are live. It says you are live. It says we're live. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. We have the trailer. Hello. Hello, hello. How is everyone? How is everyone? First we have some business. I saw a super chat from Colin Ewan, and it's not letting me look at it, so I apologize. Thank you for the super chat. If I missed any more, let me know. I set this up really early because we've been doing all this stuff where we're clearing out my mom's house, and this movie hit me in the. I'm going through exactly
right
this, right in the feels. So we're gonna do a quick spoiler-free part real quick, and then that's gonna go up as a separate video. This one's gonna stay up as its own thing. So, hello Free For All, hello RSO Media, hello Anubis, hello. I'm gonna scooch in, so move your foot that way. There you go. I scooched in. Are you close enough? You want to scooch in?
I think I'm probably close enough.
I hope the mic.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. How's our levels? I guess we just gotta point that way. We just gotta point that way.
Point that way.
Towards when we speak, because I got the. I can always turn the mic up a little here. Let's just turn it up a little.
Yeah.
Is that better? Yeah, loud and clear.
Wow,
Okay.
yeah.
Just saw it. Hi, Mecha. Oh yeah. We're gonna do a spoiler free first. What was I gonna do? I was spinning through the chat. Now I see you guys. Okay, now I see you over here. I want to put you on the other monitor too, so I can see it, so he can see you. So first up, spoiler-free part. Let me record. We just saw Ghostbusters last night, but it wasn't the Eternals. It was pretty damn
good.
Good. It was good. I'm Mecha, and he's
Rob, Robot, Shlomo.
From he did Ghostbusters videos way back
with the other guys.
He had a channel. They got a little SJWE and decided to go cancel Happy on people. So my birthday was yesterday. I had a Ghostbusters theme party, a homemade ecto cooler. Going to see the movie Saturday. Great. Don't watch past the first 5 minutes of this stream, okay? Because we're gonna get into a lot of spoilers later on in here. So, we liked it though. We really, really liked it. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, by the way. We got to see it yesterday, and we said when I actually play the right movie. It was great. Actually, The Eternals was hilarious in all the wrong ways.
Hilariously bad. The Eternals.
Yeah, we sat down, a packed theater full of everybody. This is the first time we've actually gotten to see a movie in the theater together, too. So, packed theater. So, we went packed theater on an IMAX theater, and they start with this scroll, and I'm like, this is not Ghostbusters.
I thought it might be for a second.
Yeah, and then you start reading, and then we heard somebody behind us say, this is the wrong movie. This is the Eternals. Oh, they're playing the Eternals again. And then it goes into this Marvel thing, and it's like, oh no. And we got 5 minutes of the Eternals, and it was awful.
Oscar winner director Chloe Zhao. Can't take it back.
It was like a Jupiter Ascending level bad. It was like a Cloud Atlas-y, Jupiter Ascending-y, weird. So of course, I'm in the mood for Ghostbusters. I'm in the mood for something fun, and
they did give us free popcorn and a soda.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back and probably watch The Kingsman and get some free popcorn and free soda.
I
or
still
Spider-Man.
haven't seen the first Kingsman.
I'm gonna make him watch Kingsman. That's good. But Ghostbusters, we gotta talk about Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and people keep telling me about Kingsman. I love it because of James Bond.
Yeah, it's like Bond movies, only good.
Well, recent Bond movies.
I mean, it's good compared to good Bond movies, too, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, but Ghostbusters.
Okay, without spoiling it, so we're going to do the no spoiler part here real quick. Without spoiling it, it's really, it hits you in the feels. It's very sweet.
Yes. It's got a way of making it its own movie, but having enough of callbacks and being rooted in that world that it's a Ghostbusters movie. And I'm not talking about superficial things like the Ecto-1 or the PK mutant, all those but it's
the dialogue. It's the way people talk to each other where you're just laughing because they say something funny.
It's very smart.
It's not it's not like a Saturday Night Live comedy sketch. It's like you know how you're just with your family and they say something funny? That's this. And that's why Ghostbusters was good too.
It's smartly written. It is very thoughtfully written, and it's very heartfelt for the movie. You can see that this is a thank you letter from Jason Reitman to his dad.
Oh.
And this is a thank you. This is a love letter to the original Ghostbusters. And this is it is a very loving tribute to the late Harold Ramis.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say this is does Jason Reitman have a daughter? I think this is it just really, I probably read that somewhere, but if he doesn't, this is the type of guy who's like writing a love letter to his daughter, it feels like too. So just all of the things. I mean, there are ways in which this movie makes you feel connected to, it's like you see how your family is in ways that you might not realize. I'm trying not to spoil this. I'm really desperately trying not to spoil this in this first part.
It shows you your family may not be perfect, but
they're doing the best they can.
They're doing the best they can, and sometimes they do things that you might not understand in the interim, in the short term, but
it makes perfect sense to them.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to them. Like, Egon does what he does. And my dad was out of the picture. My dad was out of the picture.
Well, we kind of know without spoiling. It's all
in there. It's all in the trailer. Yeah, my dad does what he does, but he knows it's not that he's neglecting his family. He's very much fighting for his family.
Well, Man Beyond, the Cobra Kai of Ghostbusters.
Yes.
They kind of did that. Because. Oh, I don't want to spoil it, but one of the things that I loved about Cobra Kai is that they don't give you all new characters right away.
No.
And I'm not going to spoil who and what or anything, but you have real, the feel and the sense of real Ghostbusters throughout the entire movie. In the beginning, and then shortly after, you introduce the family, and then it's like, oh, and now here's our Ghostbuster alum sort of stuff. You have scenes with, it's not just brief cameos. They feel like they're there the whole time. Mm-hmm. At least somebody feels like they're there the whole time. And that is one of the things that was so important. And we do get a lot of the new characters, and they're fun.
Yes.
The girl is fun. She's really smart and perfect without being a Mary Sue, because they don't just automatically know how to use everything. They show them screwing up a few times.
Well, she's figuring things out too. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's not exactly figuring it out by herself. We're not going to spoil that for. I'm going to spoil that for you. But she figures things out. She does know how to do everything on the box. She's inquisitive, and you are very much invested in this character. Like, hey, wait a minute. She's like, oh.
And this is how you do a character that's really good at something, but not a Mary Sue. I think.
Yeah. She's inquisitive, and she's wise. She's intelligent beyond her years, but she's not wise beyond her years yet. She does need some guidance, and you see how that plays out throughout the film. How good was Paul Rudd in this movie?
Oh, he's so fun. He's like, okay, so he's playing this teacher who's, I don't even want to, well, we'll talk about it in full spoilers. He's their teacher, which anyway. He's just so likable. I can see why they keep bringing him back for Marvel movies and stuff. He's just fun, he's clever, he's quick, he connects with McKenna Grace's character right away.
He's got a very easygoing demeanor to him. I mean, he's got very kind of like, I don't want to say boy next door, but he's got a very kind of common everyman kind of quality.
Critics are trying to bomb it. Oh, the critics are mad that a man did what women Ghostbusters couldn't. Yeah. And that is continue the thing.
The best, I don't want to call it revenge, but the best thing that this movie can do is be successful. Mm-hmm. And, and a lot of critics go, oh, well, they didn't subvert expectations. I'm like, yeah, you don't want a movie like this to subvert your expectations. You want to get exactly what you want out of it, knowing what you're going in for.
I went in for a Ghostbusters movie, and we got a Ghostbusters movie. It was a cute little small town. It was very Spielbergian, and it really felt a little. It felt more like a Spielberg movie than The Lost Boys from the trailer. But there was enough there to oh, there's so many fun things.
Almost like a Goonies.
Yeah. I mean, the kids take most of the charge, and the parents are kind of, or the mom is kind of just there along for the ride. But
they're not idiots.
The parents aren't idiots, and the kids aren't unlikable, and the kids aren't useless. And yes, there's a lot of diversity, and people are going to call it Wokebusters because, pretty much you've got your checklist of side characters. Mm-hmm. But it's not, nobody's talking about their racial or gender struggles or, oh, well, clearly you just didn't have what it took to be a Ghostbuster. No, none of that crap in this one.
I would have been a Ghostbuster, but the man kept me down.
No, there was none of that.
None of that. And it's very much a...
Well, there is some things that I think some people are going to look at it and say, oh, well, they made one character unlikable, and they made one character this and that, and then they talked down there, which we'll get into the full spoiler part. I think that they redeemed it by giving you the ending. The ending is what kind of redeemed how they set up and how they talk down about a certain character in this. And we're going to get into...
We're going to get into in the spoiler section.
In the spoiler section. Do we have anything else we cannot spoil?
No. Anything else would we'd be spoiling. But like I said, all the characters are good. Each character gets adequate screen time without overdoing it. All the callbacks are very organic. And
it's not just a member berry.
No, I mean, everything is there for a reason. Everything is there for a purpose.
And Mini Puffs are clearly there to sell toys, and they're so cute, and I need Wave 2.
I don't mind that. I mean, it's... And they're sadistic little things.
Oh, they're cute. He smiles. He's like, turn on the Cuisinart, and he's like, yeah, he's so cute. Oh, I love him.
So I give this about 4.5 Chewbacca's.
Out of what?
6.
Out of 6? That low?
4? No, that's actually really good.
Okay.
That's actually really good. See... There's the Chewbacca scale is 1 through 5, but there's a 6th Chewbacca for movies that are so awesome that 5 cannot contain them. Mm-hmm. So 4.5 is actually a really good score. Mm-hmm. So
God,
it's not a perfect movie, but you know what? It's a damn good time.
Well, I just played the video game, and there's so much stuff that I'm like, I just did this in the video game, only this is like more and better. And now we're in a mine with the Cult of the Shandor stuff, and now we're...
Be prepared for... I'm not going to give away the ending, but be prepared to get your Kleenex out. I mean, and get verklempt. I mean, be prepared because it is a very kind of... It tugs at a few heartstrings.
See, I identified way too much with this anyway because my mom just passed 3 weeks ago, and I'm going through her house, and it's trashed out, and it's a mess, and she left us a lot of debt here, and a lot of... Oh, now I'm gonna start crying, and like just seeing that connection there with the mom and the family there, that one hit way too close. I'm the girl who I'm gonna probably be crying by the end of this, but we're not yet. I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10, with the original Ghostbusters being like a 9.5 out of 10, and Ghostbusters 2 being about a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, the original Ghostbusters is probably 5.5, possibly 6 Chewbaccas, because that movie's so awesome.
So good.
5 Chewbaccas cannot contain it.
Well, the whole last half hour of this movie just bumped this right up.
Oh yeah,
it was like sitting solid like 7.5, and then it just like, and then there's some cheesy stuff too, but of course it has to have it. Mm-hmm. Oh, but it's so
But it's really good. Like I said, it's a damn good time. And how many blockbusters have let us down recently?
Yeah, and this wasn't like a huge big budget movie. I mean, you have Jason Reitman coming in, who's kind of an indie. He's a smaller, more personal connection sort of family indie director.
This does have kind of a smaller feel to it. I mean, whether the original Ghostbusters was a huge blockbuster, this does have sort of a smaller kind of.
But it kind of needs it.
Yeah, it does.
Because then you feel like, because it's such a small setting. I mean, the town is so small and remote, and you just feel like you're transported away into that little world for
Somerville, Oklahoma.
Which is Calgary, somewhere outside of Calgary. So 8 out of 10, and this is the full spoiler-free part. Now we're going to go into spoilers, and that's going to be on the live stream that I'm going to leave up, but just watch this video separate if you don't want any spoilers. We highly recommend it. It erases the 2016 one. It kind of ignores the sequel also, the Ghostbusters 2 one a little bit, But I really like it. And Slimer liked it too. Did Slimer like it?
Yes, he did.
He wasn't in it. Baby, it has baby Slimer. It's got Muncher. He's a baby Slimer. He's really cute. And then it's got the baby Stay Puft. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
4.5 Chewbacca's out of 6.
Now we're going into spoilers. Now I'm going to stop the recording part of that because, unless, you know what, sure, let's record. And now we'll go into the full spoiler thing that I'm going to record. Also, I already mentioned it before, and we have a tip jar and a donation goal. My mom left us with a lot of crapping debt, so anything that can help will help. Her next big expense that I'm finding is the lot rent for her trailer, which we got paid the first month. It's going to be due in another 2 weeks now. Already, because we had to rent a dumpster. We got the dumpster rented out. We got her bed taken out today.
That was the major thing, the bed.
But why don't old people throw away trash and bills? And she had just there are stages and moments where I'm going through less grief and more, oh my God, I am left with all of this mess and crap. And that's what really hit me in the Ghostbusters thing. So full spoiler. The mom shows up at Egon's ranch, or his house, right? And Janine pops in.
The dirt farm.
Janine pops in and she's like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Oh, I barely knew him. They set him up kind of like he's a deadbeat dad, which really pisses me off until they redeem it. So I didn't want to just focus on that. But they set him up like he's a deadbeat dad until they redeem him a bit.
Yeah. Well,
at the end. But Janine's like, oh, I came in to handle the estate and pay the bills and handle the money, and there is none. It's just so cute how she says that.
But like I said, they kept calling him the dirt farmer throughout the whole movie. Mm-hmm. And you're like, dirt farmer. And then you finally reveal why it's a dirt farmer, and it goes back to what happened in the first 5 minutes in the prologue.
Yeah. So the movie fully opens. So spoiler, if you don't want it, go away.
Yeah, if you don't want to go,
Yeah, Bond says, that didn't sit well with me making Egon a deadbeat dad. They fixed it, though, at least, so he was less of a deadbeat, because then they go full Maggie Simpson, do it for her in the end.
That was sweet.
It was sweet, but it's like, you stole that from The Simpsons. That's exactly... well, they didn't do the whole...
Simpsons did it.
Yeah, Simpsons did it. But yeah, so they set him up. It starts out with Egon doing this massive experiment. Like, you see him, he's trapping a ghost, trying to get a ghost out of the mine and trapping it, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out it's one of the terror dogs, right?
It is one of the terror dogs. Yeah, it is one of the terror dogs. And something is chasing. You see, something is chasing him.
Yeah.
Something is chasing him, and it chases all the way up to the farm. Mm-hmm. And he's standing. He's in shadow. You can't tell it's him. So you're like, is it Egon? Is it not Egon? But you know it's Egon.
Yeah, you know it's Egon.
And he holds up the trap. He's trying to entice whatever it is, and he's got this thing. He's got this big rig set up, and he hits the switch, and nothing happens. And ultimately, he goes back in the house. And ultimately, he's killed. He
sits down. They come out of the chair, try and get him, and
like they did with
Dana. Yeah. And so he just kind of passes away. You see the PKE meter even go off, and then it stops for a second. Yeah.
So everything, like I said, then,
but he's in the whole first part of the movie. Oh, yeah. Like your book ended with real Ghostbusters for sure. Oh, yeah. It's like a good 5 minutes, and it's kind of. It's a little cheap that they're using a stand-in. I feel bad spoiling this for people who haven't watched it, but
this is the spoiler review.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see, if you don't want to spoil,
full spoilers right there in the title.
Full spoilers. I mean, yeah. And it cuts to I'm guessing New York, and
yeah, I think she's back in New York. She can't pay her rent. The single mom.
Yeah.
Carrie Coon's character.
She's being tossed out of her apartment. With 2 kids. One of them is Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, and the other one is McKenna Grace, who plays Phoebe, Egon's granddaughter, and you could tell obviously this is Egon's granddaughter.
Yeah, just so much like him. The characteristics. The mom's so much more like, oh, is this a Coach handbag? Is this shoes? Is this a purse? She doesn't like science, has a total aversion to it.
Yeah.
So such a normie, and But yeah, the granddaughter is like, she says the same type of stuff. She's just very,
very.
She even says, "Oh, I know. It's okay, Mom. You don't have much of an aptitude for science."
Yeah.
That's
So she's trying to fix the
power. She's trying to fix the power. She wants to get she's like, well, yes, but I can't run this. What was she running? She's running some experiment thing. Yeah. I can't run this experiment thing without it. Yeah. How was the acting? Everyone was good.
Everyone was very good.
Yeah, even the kids. The kids were good.
McKenna Grace, oh my God, she's
well, her sister, I think that's her sister on the Babysitter's Club revival, her older sister. Yeah? So I think the whole family. Wasn't that her singing at the end too?
Yes, it was.
She sang that song at the end, that little girl.
It's called Haunted House.
Yeah.
Obviously it was auto-tuned,
well,
I mean, but still though, Ghosts Don't Leave a Haunted House, which was the end credits song, which is very appropriate. Kind of reminds me of, like I said, when my mom passed away. There always the touch lamp would be, and that's the thing though. I mean, that's the thing. Egon is there in spirit.
He's in the whole freaking movie.
In the whole movie.
Yeah.
They don't show him. But he's in the whole movie.
Like from the second they're in, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. They get thrown out of the house. The landlord's like, yeah, I'll change the locks after you go. So she has to pack up and take everybody to this farm in the middle of Oklahoma. And they get there and they find they've got pretty much nothing. It's just a shithole and of course it's Egon's house, so he's got just a stack of books piled sky high.
The symmetrical book stacking, remember?
Oh, there's it just reminds me so much of this is exactly what he would have done, and. Mm-hmm. And it's Phoebe who discovers that the house is haunted. I mean, the chessboard got blown over or knocked over. So she sets it up, and then she notices a piece moves.
No, she sets it up. She goes to bed, and she notices a piece moves the next day. Mm-hmm. And then she counters it. Yeah. And then she starts playing chess with this ghost. Yeah. But the ghost, it turns, she's just walking through the house, lights keep going on ahead of her, which is Egon guiding her to his lab.
Well, she knew immediately that there is something up with the PK meter anytime, just follow that, and that's where Yeah, so she was more curious than anything.
It's very smartly done. It was.
Oh, yeah.
It was very extremely, this was very smartly done. They didn't give away the whole game, but there's in Captain Tyson, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And like I said, it was a good. The house is haunted, but it's like I said, because it's Egon's house. He is very much You get the sense that Egon. This is definitely his granddaughter, and he's what a grandfather does with a grandchild. He encourages their curiosity many times. And more so than the parents, because parents are off doing whatever, they're working or they got whatever.
Well, the mom never connected, and they're right. They said in chat, she felt Egon was a deadbeat dad, so she probably had an aversion to science because she just was resentful of her dad.
Yeah. But like I said, we later you find there's a good reason for that. Mm-hmm. But she finds the proton pack in the basement. She finds his collection of mold,
spores, and fungus. Yeah, she finds all that stuff. Well, we saw that in the trailer. He even has a puzzle solved. He even he puts her in this chair and even spins it around. And her mom's passed out on
with a big glass of wine.
And she looks down and oh, there's a hidden panel here, and it's got a puzzle that she solves to open it to get down to the
ghost trap.
Yeah, to get the ghost trap for the.
And it picks. Okay, that's pretty much. And then the kids have to go to school. Obviously, they're going to summer school, which is actually summer school. I'm like, wow, summer school is still a thing.
It must have been,
because back y'all used to be afraid of going to summer school. You have to work your ass off. I don't want to go to summer school.
I don't know if it is still a thing with No Child Left Behind anymore.
Because if you didn't pass during the regular term, you'd have to go make it up in summer school.
I never had to. I was smart.
Well, that was always the thing.
I was in the 98. So.
That was always the thing. I'm like, you're gonna have to go to summer school. I'm like, oh no, not summer school. So, so who's teaching summer school? It's Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's Gary Gruberson. His name is Gary's character. Turns out he's a
geologist. He's a seismologist.
seismologist,
So, yeah.
and he's really there.
He's there to study that there's just this huge amount of earthquakes and seismic activity, and and he basically sets everybody up in a room watching horror movies, all the students, and of course McKenna Grace is in there, and she's like super bored, so she's like, what's all this seismology and all this stuff? And he's like, there's a movie over there. Shouldn't you be watching? It's a really entertaining horror movie about a dog ripping up children. And
about a rabbit Saint Bernard.
And she's like, yeah, I don't care. So he realizes that, she's actually capable of understanding him. And she's got this whole thing where she's making little jokes and stuff throughout the whole movie. And it's actually done really cute because she's like, because you're reminded that, hey, I'm 12. Hello. Like, it's just done really cute in a lot of ways. And I don't even like kids, but I think they did it really, really well.
Well, okay. So Paul Rudd's the guy who actually makes the connection that her grandfather is Egon Spengler.
Well, because she brings in the ghost trap, and he's like, "Oh, that's a great replica," and she's like, "No, I found this in my grandpa's house." He's like, "That's real. That's not a replica," because it starts zapping and going off a little and making noise. And then they've got this other new character. His name's Podcast, who comes in, which is like her friend.
Her first friend,
yeah.
Which is a really good character because it's sort of, he serves as sort of the exposition character, but he's doing it through the podcast, and his name's Podcast, and he's there to sort of acclimate her to her new surroundings. I don't know what kind of there's got to be a literary term for that character, but but it is sort of, I wouldn't call him the audience POV character, but.
He was kind of almost a comic relief, maybe.
Yeah, he was a comic relief, yeah.
Maybe, but everybody had funny moments, so. He's
going on about his podcast, yeah, it really hits its stride. It really hits its stride episode 46. Mm-hmm. I mean...
yeah, he's got a little flash drive.
Yeah, and it's this great dynamic they have that they have together. She's very kind of... I don't call her uptight, but she's very kind of scientific, very...
I don't want to call her like a Sheldon Cooper type because she's not really. She's kind of like if Sheldon Cooper were more likable, maybe.
She's very scientifically inquisitive.
She's just like a little mini Egon, I guess, is the best way.
He's just there to observe everything. He's wrapped up in his...
He's a conspiracy guy. He's into ghosts and stuff. So then Paul Rudd goes... so you do conspiracy podcasts and you don't know what this ghost trap is? Because nobody had heard of the big Ghostbuster thing. So this is basically says that, that kind of got lost to history. And they even make a joke where they're like, this all happened like 20 years before we were born. Of course we don't know about it.
Yeah, so like you say, I don't want to say kind of got forgotten, but to a kid that age, it would be like, oh yeah, Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs in the World Series. I'm like, oh, Reggie Jackson. Who's Reggie Jackson? Yeah. So, yeah, it's still in living memory, and Paul Rudd is the guy to explain that. And so he's sort of the link to that, to previous movies, which is actually kind of cool. And then they try to open it. And they don't succeed
right away. And it's hilarious. So they try and hook it up to a school bus, and then
car battery,
the car battery, and then they do open it, and it just goes nuts, and it just
ghost pops out.
Yeah,
and heads back to the Shandor mine, and there's a link to that about the Shandor. Yeah. And there's actually a link to the first movie and to the game too. So I mean,
yeah. I just played the Ghostbusters game, and I'm like, this just reminds me of like going around and into all this.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, there's a B plot with the son, Finn Wolfhard, Trevor.
Yeah. Well, he's like trying to score with some chick, and you kind of get spoon fed her. She's not really in there too much. She's just you find out after a while that. She's working at the diner, and then he's trying to work at the diner to be near her, and he's trying to... He's younger than he's pretending to be. And...
Yeah, she's 17. Turns out he's really 15, but there's the other thing, like I said, he's the one that finds the Ecto-1 in the barn.
Yeah.
That's collapsed and it says dirt on it. So, I mean, that's actually pretty funny. Like I said, then there's the recurring joke, the dirt farmer never planted anything, but always tilled the land. And he has the 3 big silos. I'm like, everything, you wonder what everything's for. And it's like I said, it's a mystery, like not a mystery box, but it's a mystery, but because they do pay it off at the end.
Exactly.
We're not going to say that. We're not going to say just how. They do pay it off. But there's the whole thing about, everybody thinks Egon was crazy, and they don't really explain why. And it turns out that Egon does help the kid Trevor get the Ecto-1 running again.
Yeah, he just reconnects some
reconnects
wires.
a couple wires, to the starter.
Well, because he finally is nice to it then. Because he's finally nice to it. Because he's like, oh, this piece of junk, this is shit. And then he's like, oh, come on, sweetheart. Or come on, darling.
Come on, darling. Yeah, come on, darling. Come on. And he's like, okay, kid, here you go.
Yeah. There was no preaching in this movie. I didn't see any. No.
So, but that's good. That was a good moment. The Ecto-1 roars back to life, and and like you said, the ghost, and ultimately what happens is that Egon's spirit points Phoebe to the basement into his lab, and she finds the proton pack. And you're like, yeah, and she's fixing it with his help. Yeah, which I thought was like, needleless pliers, and it's just like the light gets pointed towards it. Thank you. And she takes it apart and everything. You're like, is she gonna fix it? Yeah, she's gonna fix it, isn't she? She's gonna fix it.
But it's not like she can just do everything right away, because she kind of still...
She's still a kid, and but she's a science, but she's in the science, and she's still a kid, but he's there, and it's like, okay, this is how, like a grandfather would do. Okay, this is how you fix the proton pack. We're gonna put it over here. And she gets it running, and her and podcast go, and they test it out. And now this is the thing. She doesn't know how to use it. She really doesn't know how to use it. She's not familiar with it. She knows how to turn it on, but she's not good with it right away.
Yeah, so they pointed at what? Just some piece of junk in the yard?
Couple bottles, and it's like an old factory or whatever. A couple bottles and a couple things, and she turns it up, and you hear that famous like energy that surge.
Well, we heard it in IMAX too, so everything was like a million times louder.
Holy cow!
Every jump scare was like, or every little thing was like a gunshot. It was,
yeah. So. And
yes, baby Muncher were so cute. Little baby Slimers, Muncher.
So she gets a shot in. Like, did I hit it? Hit it! You obliterated it. It doesn't exist anymore.
Well, then they start hearing noises coming from this factory, and it's a little Muncher in there. So she's like, no, we got to go check it out. And he's like, aren't you scared of actually overstimulation calms me?
Yeah. Which is a very Egon thing to say. Overstimulation calms me. So they get they encounter their first ghost.
First ghost, and then they end up. The brother then ends up coming and finding them. Yeah, because he's out driving the car. So that's how they end up chasing Muncher down the street. You see that in the trailer.
Yeah, I see in the trailer. It's actually a really good scene.
Yeah,
because
they don't know what they're doing yet.
No, they don't know what they're doing. They're kind of learning as they go. And they have the gunner seat. This is a gunner seat, and from people telling me that's actually from the cartoon.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch that
I didn't watch it either.
I watched the one with the gorilla.
I was older about it.
It's okay. They're all related in some form. I mean, they're all kind of connected, so.
Yeah. So anyway, the gunner seat. This has a gunner seat, and and hey, Maximilian, just subscribe.
Thank you for subscribing.
So yeah, so and then they have the RC trap, and it's this really good thing. They're figuring out how things work, and when they succeed, you're like, yeah, yes. And they end up at the Shandor mine.
Well, they didn't end up at the mine yet. Is that before or after?
No, they when they're chasing the ghost through town, they head up for the mountain. And Finn Wolfhard's character Trevor had been there the previous day with the girl. They were partying, and there was a face in the bottom of the mine shaft that said Gozer.
So the mine contains selenium.
Selenium. Oh yeah, and podcasts had been there too. I mean, they'd been there with and they saw the carvings and everything.
Well, wasn't that? I think it was it was the same stuff that that the building was made out of.
Selenium girders.
Yeah, it was, and that's why. And apparently that had like just kind of formed. It was funny. There was a scene with Paul Rudd and the mom, where he's going through her house because he just wants to snoop. He wants to see what's there mostly. And there's a map on the table, and she doesn't care what it is. He's like, this is ancient Sumerian writing that's like thousands of years old, and a town that was founded 100 years ago. Okay, who cares? Don't you find that fascinating? Not really. I mean, do you want it?
And there's a line. The mom says that's how it starts with first one, a little map, then you're running off to a town in the middle of nowhere.
To be a dirt farmer.
Because
she doesn't quite get it. She doesn't like. She's very. I hate saying that. They kind of wrote her like Penny from The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of wrote the daughter like Sheldon a little bit, but they did it better. I want to say.
Yeah, they did it better. Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be those characters that they juxtapose.
Your references are out of control, but it's relevant because that's what one of the big callbacks is. They did talk about the selenium mining and stuff. So.
Captain April says, now's the time to force Rob to watch the 2016 movie to truly appreciate why this movie will kick every other movie's ass.
Yeah, you haven't seen the other one.
No, thankfully, no. I haven't seen Kingsman either. We saw a preview for the
next
prequel.
Kingsman movie, yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't seen Kingsman either, and people are surprised because I'm a huge Bond fan.
Oh, that's like Bond movies only good. They're great.
Yeah.
Well, the first one. I haven't seen the second one. But it was really good.
But, so anyway, there's a whole story about how the Shandor mine, all the miners, they started mining everything, and then they found all these carvings, and, well, like, for some reason, 14 stands out. 14 miners leapt to their death.
Yeah, they were sacrificing themselves, and...
To Gozer.
Yeah. And then you got Shandor, like, in a coffin there.
Yeah, Evo Shandor, yeah.
But it's J.K. Simmons.
That was creepy.
It just reminded me of the Rassilon Doctor Who stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh.
So okay, yeah. So
you didn't watch that storyline, though.
No,
okay, yeah.
Hey, can you see me 2016 one of those? Rob must share our pain, Captain April.
Oh, the 2016 one was terrible. Oh, it was awful. And they do say, there hasn't been a ghost sighting in over 30 years. Yeah. They go to the original. Oh, so once the kids come out of the mine and all that stuff, they're driving through town, chase the muncher through town. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the order in the events, but they end up getting arrested. Mm-hmm. And because they're basically blowing up the whole city blocks, trying to catch Muncher.
Yeah, well, they're driving back from the mine, and they get pulled over.
Yeah. And the mom has to come and bail them out, but she calls... Okay, she's like, don't I get a phone call, though, the kid? She's like, don't I get a phone call?
You do.
So she doesn't call her mom, but of course the cop, he's there, he's like...
Who are you gonna call?
Yeah. But the cop turns out to be the father of the girl that Finn Wolfhard's trying to score with. Mm-hmm. So she's actually like pretty badass herself because she's a waitress at the diner. Her dad's a cop. She's kind of screwing with him. She's like, "Hey, you want to hold something? Do you have any priors?" So she's screwing with him.
You only spent 2 years. You only spent 2 years in prison. Which is actually pretty funny. Yeah, it's actually pretty funny.
Oh, she's just messing with him because her dad's the sheriff. So of course she's just waiting for a ride.
But, and who are you going to call? And who does she call? Ray.
She calls Ray.
Ray's Occult Books.
Oh.
Ray's Occult Books were closed.
And he has a whole huge scene with her. That's like a 5-minute scene, just him talking back and forth.
And
about,
And you learn about their falling out with Egon, and they thought Egon was crazy, and
he just kind of up and left and took all their stuff and took Ecto 1 and wiped him out.
And there's a pretty big exposition dump, but I mean it's not all extraneous material. It brings you up to date on what's been happening with all of them. Mm-hmm. Turns out, Winston's a successful businessman. Peter Venkman's teaching advertising, which is about right for him.
Which is perfect. Well, he went back to
academia, as they say.
And Ernie Hudson was a giant businessman. Yeah. But he had 2 PhDs in the game, so they definitely made sure that he still was really successful. And yeah.
And
so that's our first. That's our actual second. Because we had Egon for the whole first 5 minutes of the movie, just from behind and from the side. He wasn't saying anything. Then you had Ghost Egon for the next 10-15 minutes, and then you've got a big chunk with Ray. So then we kind of keep going, and Then we find out because like they're so in the movie, like they feel like they're in the movie for most of it, and then they kind of go away while everything starts to amp up. So then you get all the ghost activity, and you get the spooky stuff, and you get the mini puff scene, and you get,
And then you get the Walmart scene. Obvious product placement.
Well, that's the mini puffs too.
Yeah.
Mini puffs are in Walmart, and then you get. Then there's all the retread of the first, but that makes sense because that's the profit. That's how Gozer comes back. You have the gatekeeper and the keyman. You kind of have to, you know, for people who are complaining. Oh, there's a lot of retread. Yeah, you have to though.
I mean, like I said, it's in Revelations. I mean, and they have the books and they have all the readings, and you know, it's.
Calling you in, and yes, we did enjoy the movie. Highly recommend it. And yes, I saw your super chat earlier. Thank you so much. It's the first movie in a long time I've been excited for. Oh, we really liked it. They started playing the Eternals first. Don't watch the Eternals.
Think about how many bad movies we've gotten over the last. I mean, the Eternals was bad. I mean,
Black Widow was awful.
I mean, all the No Time to Die was terrible. I mean,
I didn't even watch Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was. We didn't watch it, but we haven't heard complimentary things.
Did they have soda, and beer? Actually, they did have a full bar. They didn't have our popcorn tins though. They didn't get them in yet.
No, they didn't get the popcorn tins. No,
because we went on the preview night on at the AMC.
The AMC does have awesome caramel corn though. Caramel corn is so good.
And we were at the one next to Dave and Buster's.
Oh my god, that caramel corn was so good. It's like $10, but it was so good.
It's so good. Oh, well, that's how much you get. I had an icy. And then when the Eternals was on, I just started riffing it, and I cackled. Oh, the guy, the Chomp, I'm like, that was so loud. I'm sure I annoyed everybody. It was so funny. I couldn't help
that was pretty bad. That was bad. I'm like, and I said to quote Thurston Howell III, I'd walk on that movie even on an airplane. If the first 5 minutes were that bad, how bad is the rest of the movie?
Oh, don't watch the Eternals.
Oh my god.
They tried to get you to watch it and it failed.
You're dealing with Gozer's playbook, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's okay, the Gozer stuff. I really enjoyed it. I really...
Well, one of the other things too is you got to, I mean, like I said, you know, and like I said, the whole other thing is they know when to bring the other characters in. They knew when to bring Ray in. It does seem a little contrived. What are you going to call? You know, Ray's will call books. We're closed, and you're like, you're right, but you're happy to see him. You're happy to see. You are happy. So like, it's just like, yes, Ray. Like Ray. Thank you, Ray. And then you're like, yes, and then.
But it is a little irritating though. He's like, "Oh, Egon's an asshole," pretty much.
Well, he didn't.
Oh, he's not a deadbeat dad, then he's an asshole.
He really didn't know what happened. Yeah. He really didn't. He just thought Egon went crazy. And then McKenna Grace sort of, says, "No, he wasn't crazy. He's my grandfather. This is X, Y, and Z. This is what's happening." Then he started to put the pieces together. And so it's redeeming all through the movie. Like Egon is being redeemed posthumously.
Yes. Yeah, it's like he was misunderstood. Cool Toy got the Ecto-1 popcorn container. Okay. And hello, RWX. So the AMCs were supposed to also, and ours, they didn't get them in yet. So
like I said,
they'll probably get them today or tomorrow, and I'll have to go back.
But definitely get the caramel corn.
Yeah, if you're at an AMC, get the caramel corn.
Oh my god, it's so good. So good. So good. I think I put on 3 or 4 pounds just eating caramel corn.
Well, plus we had dinner at Dave and Buster's, so just because it's Wednesday.
Did Afterlife have product placement? Yeah. Well,
a lot. Yeah, Baskin Robbins and Walmart and
probably something Sony.
Probably something else. Yeah. But it wasn't like annoying. It wasn't like, I mean, he goes into a Walmart for ice cream and he gets the mini puffed attacks. I mean, it stops the movie to get like a commercial and then, oh god, that little terror dog, he's eating the doggy chow. It's so cute.
Yeah, he's eating dog, yeah.
And he's like, his little face in the bag. He's so cute.
He's like, hey buddy. Ah. Probably Toyota is another one. Guy drives a Toyota. Pretty old Toyota though.
So there's a lot of cameos and guest star, like pretty much everybody, like except for Rick Moranis and no Walter Peck, so he's not in there either.
Walter Peck's not.
But so we got the Janine cameo with the family. Janine also has another cameo later. We get a scene with Ray and McKenna Grace. So we get those two together. Then we get a scene with Janine and Egon. No, not Janine and Egon. Was that Janine? Where they kind of flashback where she's handing him something? Was that her?
That's probably a deleted scene.
Okay.
She gives him a coin from the 1964 New York World's Fair.
Yeah. So we have that, and then we have her and Ernie Hudson in a scene. And then we have, of course. Now here's the money shot. Do you guys want the money shot? Do you guys want the big money shot? So they get all the stuff. They're trying to trap Gozer. They can't do it by themselves, but they do a pretty darn good job. You've got the little kids suited up. Yes, it's the kitty Ghostbusters.
Well, before that, they figure out what's actually going on. Mm-hmm. In that, there's Shandor, the glass coffin underneath the thing, and he goes, "What are these things? They're vacancies, they're coffins." Mm-hmm. And it turns out that Egon had rigged the system of proton packs to automatically keep whatever is in check down on in that big, I guess, well, and Paul Rudd gets possessed by the Terror Dog, by Vince Glortho, the Keymaster, the mom by Zool.
Yep. And it's really a retread a little bit. There is no mom, only Zool. And...
Yeah, but you don't mind. It's kind of coming. And so they hook up, the whole thing, and the altar pops out of the mountain, and then they confront Gozer. That are you prepared to die? I'm only 12.
That was so cute.
She's telling
Gozer jokes.
Bad jokes.
That was so cute. Oh, and I don't even like kids. She's telling Gozer bad jokes, but she's so likable in this, just to distract. Yeah, and of course Gozer is Olivia Wilde in this one.
Is it Olivia Wilde?
That's Olivia Wilde, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I was like, wow, Gozer doesn't look like David Bowie in this movie.
But enough. It's an updated, more LED suit too.
Yeah. It's got lights.
And a lot of it looked practical.
Yeah, a lot of it probably was.
Yeah, a lot of it looks so practical, and so she's telling Gozer jokes, and then they finally lure Gozer out back to the farm, and. Yeah. Then the mom all of a sudden becomes useful, and they do rescue her. They
rescue with a ghost trap.
Yeah, they capture the Zool entity. Yeah. How's the CGI? Not bad at all.
Yeah, the CGI is actually very good.
Sigourney Weaver is in this. She has a scene with Dr. Venkman.
We'll tell you about that.
We'll tell you.
So, they capture Zool. Okay. And that throws a wrench into Gozer's plan. And they're trying to. Well,
then she brings back Zool and puts her on.
Puts her into the girl.
The other girl, the daughter of the cop, the girl that Finn Wolfhard's training.
That surprised me because wait a minute, you're taking an ethnically diverse character out of a movie. That's kind of surprising.
Well, she's a female. I mean, and Gozer's like, "Are you prepared to sacrifice yourself to me?" Of course,
She's like, "I'm only 12."
That's cute. So meanwhile, they're trying to capture Gozer then on the farm,
and they figure out why there's a dirt farm.
Why there's a dirt farm? Because he's basically building the whole place as a ghost trap.
It's a gigantic trap for Gozer.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant, actually, if you think about it.
He's just upscaled.
Yeah. And so
no one told Gozer they were God. Oh, we'll get to that.
Well, okay, after she's got the proton pack, and afterwards, she falls. She comes up short, but she's got backup.
She does have a little backup, and you don't see it right away though. You don't see that right away because first off, you see her trying to zap Gozer and everything. She fails right away at the first part. Mm-hmm. Her little buddy, podcast is in there, but he's got all the little mini puffs that are trying to fight him.
Yeah.
And then he realizes he can just start squishing him and zapping him.
Yeah.
Which is really cute. Yeah. He has him covered in marshmallows. Finn Wolfhard's character, what happened to him? He's still trying to wrangle stuff too, right?
Yeah, he's got a proton pack, but he can't get it to work right, and so it looks like the chips are down.
Yeah, and then they show up.
Then You miss us?
Yes! Everybody in the theater just starts cheering too. They're like, yes! Woo! And all so then the main Ghostbusters come back. So they all start zapping, and then McKenna Grace starts again.
Yeah, then McKenna Grace. Yeah.
But then she almost fails. But then you see.
They get knocked on their asses though.
Mm-hmm.
The Ghostbusters get knocked. Ray, Peter, they get knocked on their asses. And there's that moment he goes, "Are you a god?" And Peter's like, "Ray, did you learn anything from the last movie?"
We're like,
yes,
yes, we're all gods.
Yes, we're all gods. He was saying his speech. He goes, Gozerian, by the power vested in me by the Fish and Wildlife Department of Oklahoma, state of Oklahoma, and the Bureau of Supernatural Entities. Yeah, that'll tell her, Ray. Yeah. And so they get knocked on their asses, and there's some snarky lines from Peter Venkman, and they try crossing streams, and she uncrosses the streams, so it doesn't work. She learned this. She learned about this. She uncrosses the streams, trying to send them back into their own dimension, and McKenna Grace gets the proton pack working again, and so she's there with Gozer. And she's duking out with Gozer with the proton pack, and Gozer's trying to get the upper hand, and she's being pushed back. And then, what happens?
Then you see a ghost hand guide her to hold her steady.
Yes. So she's being helped by the spirit of Egon. And that is such a rewarding moment.
Oh, and you think it's gonna be cheesy and weird because Red Letter Media
got a little bit clamped. Because
Red Letter Media said, "Oh, they're gonna have a CGI ghost Egon, aren't they?" And they do, but it works because everybody has their little moment with him,
and you get to see the four of them reunited too. He doesn't say a word. Egon doesn't say a word. But he's there guiding Phoebe. And it's like, yes, you know what? That's what really, that's completely, it's completely genuine. It's a great moment. And it's like, yes, you've really felt Harold Ramis was there, guiding her in spirit.
See, that's why. I mean, there's even a scene before that where the mom gets guided. Then she starts seeing the PK meter go off, and she gets guided down to his little secret lair. And she gets and thank you for whatever popped up. I heard the noise, but it's not coming. So the mom even gets. This is why we talk about with the Simpsons moment, where the mom gets guided down to the secret room, and she was so resentful. So she's like, I didn't mean crap to him, but then she realizes, his entire wall is filled with pictures and charts. There's stuff tracking how many freckles she has.
Yes,
and just how her height progress. He was he didn't know how to be a dad, but he knew how to study her progress and her development and her education and her progress. And that's very much an Egon thing, and I think that it doesn't make him into a deadbeat dad. It just makes him into Egon.
No,
because Egon wouldn't be somebody who really understands why he would be bragging about his family in front of a whole bunch of guys. No. I don't think he would. I don't think he would even mention them because he's very.
Well, the other thing too is Egon. Like I said, they paint him as a deadbeat dad, but she realizes wow, he's not just doing this for me. He's doing this for everybody. He's really trying to protect her too. I mean, that's the other thing. That's a very kind of dad thing. He goes, listen, I love my daughter, but I have to do this thing. This will keep her safe. So it's a very kind of dad thing to do, is make that sacrifice. He goes, I'd love to be there, but I have to see to this. I'm sorry. And like I said, and there's a very, very, after they defeat Gozer, with all the, there's a very touching moment where she hugs this Egon spirit, and his spirit finally is at rest.
Yeah, and he just kind of disappears into the atmosphere. And then it's like, okay.
Ascends and...
Yeah, so yeah. It's like they finished what they had to do. And
he's at peace.
Yeah. It's so good. So we have that scene, and then you have all the post-credit scenes.
Yes.
Which is more Ghostbusters. So like I said, they're throughout the whole movie. Like, the original Ghostbusters are pretty much sprinkled in throughout the whole movie. You never feel like there's a whole long stretch where they're not there.
There's the card scene, the card.
So yeah, the first end credit scene is Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray.
With the box.
She's holding up the cards, saying, "Okay, tell me what you see."
A bunch of wavy lines. Very good, and she zaps him anyway. 5 point is. Did you? How? This is uncanny. Well, you always brought out the best in me. He says no. He goes, "You marked these cards, didn't you?" Yes.
Oh, he was flirting pretty heavily with Gozer too, though, which is so Bill Murray, Dr. Venkman. Oh, I love just every time the original Ghostbusters are on screen, they give them so much. They're just. They have a good 45 minutes of original Ghostbusters in this. I would say at least, even counting Egon. At least,
at least, yeah. I mean, it's very much the kids' movie, but they are there throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's handled a lot more like Cobra Kai, where you start off with Egon. They set it up with Egon. He's in there once they're in the house, and yeah.
And so, like you said, that's the first end credit scene, and you find out Bill Murray marked the cards. Gene spliced Bill Murray and Tim Curry.
Oh, and then the second end credit scene
starts off with a deleted scene from the '84 film.
Yeah.
Janine handing Egon a coin from the 1964 New York World's Fair, and don't worry, I have two of them. And so she's up at Ernie Hudson's office, and Ernie Hudson is a very successful businessman. Turns out Ernie Hudson's character Winston has been paying Ray's rent all these years
for the bookstore.
He'll turn a profit one of these days. And so Ernie Hudson actually you find out he bought the firehouse. Mm-hmm. Because Ray said the firehouse is a Starbucks now. I'm like, no. And then Ray has this very kind of nice moment where he puts his hand on the cow. What did they do to you? Oh, don't worry, girl. I'll get you cleaned up. And he brings the Ecto-1 back to the firehouse, and he's going to start working on it.
You said Ray. Now it's
that Winston.
Winston.
Yeah, sorry. Winston brings the. Yeah. And so the firehouse is not in a good state. It's in kind of run down.
No, they're gonna fix it up, and I think they're gonna probably set up to where there's gonna have probably cults of Shandor pop up everywhere. Probably.
Does he try the pole? No, but the pole is actually in the movie in that it goes down to Egon's secret lab.
Yeah, they have it in the house, or they have it in the.
It's in the barn.
Yeah, that goes into his little lab. So.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, but the end credit, after the end credit scene, there's sort of a spoiler. They leave a loose end. Do you want to say what it is?
Go ahead.
They show the containment facility
in the firehouse.
In the firehouse, and it starts blinking red. You're like, uh-oh. So they do leave that loose end, so they can pick it up. So spoiler, I'm like, yeah, we've been saying this is a spoiler. It's a spoiler thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a 2016 callback. No. I don't think it is.
No, it's not. No, it's a callback to the and there's like little subtle callbacks. Like there's still the Nestle Crunch bar in the suit, in the pocket of the suit. There's a Twinkie in the glove box of the Ecto-1 or whatever it is. That's a big Twinkie. There's a lot of little subtle nods too, but they don't really beat you. It's very much its own movie. Mm. Yeah, they get Chris Corcoran. They get a containment alert, and so like I said, and Ernie Hudson did say that there may be a sequel.
Oh, they've been teasing sequels on this. They want to do another one.
They're going to do another one. I think doubt.
So.
And they just said, "That's an old Twinkie." That's right.
Twinkie in the glove box.
But there's this. But the whole thing is, like I said, it's not. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't. All the nods don't feel cheap. They don't feel tacked on. They don't really. Everything sort of has its place. The half-eaten Nestle Crunch bar. Yeah, it's a little control, but you know what? You want to see that. I had a writing teacher said that he hated the movie.
I hope they're not banging on the wall because you're too loud.
I hope not either. I didn't hear anything.
That's because you're too loud. I'm just hearing bang, bang.
I had a writing teacher who said to me he hated the movie. I don't think you've ever seen this movie, The Natural with Robert Redford.
No.
He said, "Oh yeah, and you just know I hate The Natural. I hate Barry Levin's movie. You just know Robert Redford's gonna hit a home." I'm like I said to him, "But isn't that what you want to see?" Isn't that you go? Don't you want to see Robert Redford home run? Don't you want to see Luke Skywalker win the day and blow up the Death Star? Don't you want to see
movies? Yeah.
Don't you want to see good triumph over evil? Don't you want to see the good guys win? Oh, but you have to subvert. No. No, you don't need to. You want to see the good. You want to see good triumph over evil. You want to see everybody have a happy ending. You want to see Indiana Jones save the world. You want to see James Bond defeat the bad guy. Jump off the thing and get and float away with the girl with the funny name. I mean, this gives you exactly what you want to see, and it's
all things considered.
All things considered, yeah, and it's satisfying too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, there's a time and place. Listen, there's a time and place for subverting your expectations. This isn't it.
No, and they don't insult the old Ghostbusters that much because it's just any more than the original did. I mean, Walter Peck was telling everybody they're crazy and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like it's when do we get a fedora wearing a Ghostbusters gorilla? The fedora wearing Ghostbusters gorilla. Well, you got to go to the other franchise for that, which is actually still related because it's all part of the Filmation stuff. I mean,
you have to go to Larry Storch and Forrest Tucker are unfortunately no longer with us. So I mean,
well, that's what they did the animated one with their kids, and that was all continuation of the '70s show.
Well, I'll admit, I was confused when I first saw that one. Like, who are these guys? Like, what was a gorilla? I mean, I don't remember a gorilla in the movie. Because that came out a year after the
movie, but the '70s cartoon or the '70s live action show was before the cartoon. So, and they're all related because Dan Aykroyd didn't get the rights from Filmation then from Lou Scheimer. I want to say because that's how he got the rights for the name, and then he changed it completely. But then Filmation just did their own thing from the original because Filmation was involved with it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
FC's Ghost, thank you so much for the super chat.
Yeah, hey, I'm not seeing enough things up here, man. Come on, man. We got to get going. Listen, hey, that lot rent's not going to pay itself, guys.
Oh, don't remind me. I was trying to avoid me thinking about that. So do we want to wrap this and then change out the stream title or we set up a new stream, maybe take a 10-minute break, talk about Discovery.
Oh, my God.
Because I think I want to keep that as something. Do we want to talk about Discovery? You guys want to come back in 10? You guys all come back in 10 to talk about Discovery? I want to do a whole thing. Thanks for explaining. I wondered.
Clink, clink, clink. And there you go.
Thank you. Do Twinkies have an expiration date?
Oh,
yes.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, $10 Streamlabs. I really appreciate that. Bin Lee Dang. I really appreciate that.
I feel like Jerry Lewis.
We gotta do off the cleavage into the cup score. See, I should put it better here, though. Well, I'm sitting weird for off the cleavage into the cup. So yes, do it. All right, everybody, come back.
We're gonna take about a 10-minute break.
10-minute break to potty and refresh. And you guys, I'm gonna set up a new stream.
I might start drinking.
We were talking about Discovery. We watched that before we started this.
Oh my God! Do I have to talk about Discovery? My soul dies a little bit at a time when I talk about Discovery.
All right, well, this is a happy one. Watch Ghostbusters. Yes. I'm going to leave this one up.
Yes, Ghost. Like I said, so many movies have let us down. Like, this didn't.
So, we will come right back. Don't you guys go anywhere.